Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called Living in Norway, what it's really like. So yeah, as always, really enjoy these videos showing people's experiences living in Norway. And yeah, you can tell me if you agree with the things in this video. Tell me what you think about it as always.
What is it really like living in Norway?
Yeah, and tell me in your opinion, if you're from Norway, what's it really like? Is there any misconceptions that people outside of Norway maybe have about the country? And do you just enjoy living in Norway? Would you ever want to live anywhere else?
Married now, let's follow the lights, let's follow the crowd. Baby, we gotta get out. Let's get out of this town. I don't wanna live my life in circles. I just wanna find it.
So much natural beauty in the country.
Let's get away from here. Let's go.
Yeah, some like unexpectedly stunning beaches too.
All of my friends are settling down. They're only kids.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I will spill the tea on what it's like to live in Norway. I'm as Norwegian as can be. I've lived most of my life in Norway, and I know that a lot of you guys are interested in the country, the people. A lot of you found me through my most viewed video, fun facts about Norwegian people. So if you haven't seen that, go and give it a watch. Don't know why I would say that. Please don't watch it. It's hella awkward. So before we get into the 18 truths about living in Norway, we need to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare. So Skillshare is an online learning community for creators, and if you follow me on Instagram these days, you would know that we are all handymen, and we like to do things ourselves. If it's painting, building a cabin, chopping down a Christmas tree, fixing a light bulb, doing the plumbing. When I've been in other countries and lived in other countries, it seems like it's more of a culture of calling someone who is an expert in that area, but here we try to do everything ourselves. We have like 10 celebrities in Norway. That's obviously an exaggeration. But
Yeah, so just with regards to that doing everything yourself, is that the culture for you in Norway? I feel like being from the UK, that was definitely the culture maybe a generation or two generations ago. I feel like my generation and the younger generation probably losing a bit of that, and yeah, just rely on other people to do things for us. We just call people, can you do whatever needs done about the house and so on. But I really like that Norwegians take those matters into their own hands and are a bit more handy. Is that the case for you?
we just have a handful of celebrities that are in magazines, on TV, in movies, and they kind of rotate on who they use for that. We don't have paparazzi, and if you see a celebrity in the street, it's kind of like, oh, that's that guy I see every day at the grocery store, the guy that hooked up with my friend, the guy that's the son of my mom's friend. It's a very small country. I would say we're very in tune with nature. Obviously this has changed a lot, but to some degree I would say that we're still very active outdoors. It's still a huge part of our culture to go tenting, hiking, skiing, fishing, running in the woods. We have cabins up on the mountains, down by the sea, in the woods. We take ice baths, we go snowboarding, ice skating, you name it. And when we're in nature, we kind of know how to move about it. We know how to start a fire. Other people do. I clearly don't know how to do that. We bring with us a stormkjøkken, vaffelrøre, and we cook up food in nature. Speaking of food,
Yeah, so that's actually one thing I really like about Norway. I feel like if I ever did move to Norway or go to Norway for an extended period of time, nature would probably be one of the biggest draws to the country. You see the images there from the start of that video, and when she was talking, so many like unbelievable places. I'm from Scotland, and I thought Scotland had a lot of natural beauty, especially in the Highlands and things like that. But Norway is on a completely different level. It must be one of the most beautiful countries naturally in the world. Tell me, what's the most special part of Norway for you, the most beautiful part? Where do you like to go? But I like, again, that Norwegians, again, very handy, can go hiking, can do all these things, and it's very natural for them.
We don't eat out much. It's very expensive and it's just not a part of our culture really. We like to cook at home. We like to cook from the bottom up. What? And when we go out, when we go to school, to work, traveling, we bring matpakke. The winter is very long, very dark, very cold, very sad. So depending on where you live in Norway, if you live above the polar circle, for example, where I'm originally from, Lofoten, the sun doesn't come above the horizon during winter, so it's like dark 24/7. And the opposite when it's summer, so the sun is above the horizon 24/7. So we call that the midnight sun during summer and mørketida, the dark times during winter. So we have 4 seasons during the year, but winter starts during fall and ends during spring. So we kind of have winter 6 months a year, if it's a bad year. Most years, basically. And it can go down to like minus 20 degrees Celsius during winter and plus 30 degrees Celsius during summer. But more kind of normal is minus 10 degrees, I guess, during winter and plus 20 during summer. So
yeah, that's one thing I do miss. I live in Malaysia now, and they don't have seasons here. It's like 32 degrees Celsius every day of the year. Sunrise at 7 a.m, sunset at 7 p.m. It's just the same every day. There's like no change. It might be a bit rainy here and there. I miss the seasons, but also I really enjoy winter. When I go back to like Scotland, I enjoy the cold weather. I mean, for a short period of time, 6 months does seem like quite long. Do you prefer that Norwegian weather? Would you like to live somewhere warmer and in a different climate?
This is a random one, but it's something that came to mind. We drink a lot of milk. I think we're one of the top countries in how much milk people drink. Cow's milk, that is. It's kind of shoved down our throats from a very young age. As I said, we don't have like warm lunch in school. So you need to bring your own lunch, but they do serve milk. As I've said before, people are very closed off, introverts, not very welcoming to strangers, and they keep to their group of people. So it's not very uncommon that you have the same friends from when you're young throughout your entire life. So if you're an immigrant, good luck.
Do you think that's true? Do you think, like, say for instance, if I did go to Norway, do you think it's easy to make friends? How would someone make friends if they were to move to Norway? Would it just be through work? How else do people make friends, actually? I mean, I think in every country, the older you get, the more difficult it is to make friends. But when it's a country where people are maybe a bit more introverted, it just seems like a bit more tough. But how would you make friends if you move to Norway, do you think?
We love the sun. So
I guess maybe sports, something like that.
we travel abroad as much as we possibly can. So we take very exotic, adventurous trips to Granca every year, where we meet up with the 350,000 other Norwegian people that go there every year. That also needs a drink and some vitamin D. It's very safe in Norway, so you could leave your stuff outside, your expensive skis, your backpack, your stuff running into the bathroom and come out again and it wouldn't be stolen. This sounds very posh, but I forgot my Louis Vuitton backpack at the tram this summer, and it took me a few hours before I could get to it, because I didn't have a car. I could follow the tram, so whatever. And yeah, a few hours later it was still there all the stuff was still inside, cash, my wallet, some jewelry. So yeah, it's not uncommon to not lock your door, to leave your stuff outside. Obviously, I wouldn't gamble on doing that, but it's pretty safe. So you can't really have a car in Oslo anymore. It's very expensive with parking and taxes, and it's not really parking anymore in Oslo, but the public transportation is really good. We got like metro, trams, trains, buses, those electrical scooters, city bikes. So that's usually how people get around. People usually take public transportation, walk, or a bike to their work and to school.
That actually sounds good to me. I like that. Now living in a city, I like Kuala Lumpur, where I live right now. Traffic is just crazy everywhere. Everybody drives everywhere. Public transport is very lacking. It's not the best service, so you just get stuck in traffic jams for so long. I actually like it that they make it a bit more difficult to drive in Oslo and kind of push people towards public transport. I think that's just a much better way to have the infrastructure in a city. Tell me, if you're from Oslo, do you prefer to drive? Are you happy with the public transport system? Do you like the way the city is in that respect at the moment?
And to basically get around in general. To get around other parts of Norway, you can take a train or take a car or a plane. We drink tap water. You know that expensive water bottle called Voss that you see around the world? That is Norwegian tap water. With all the nature and activities around us, we still have gym memberships. Baked goods, pastries, breads are different than any other country. It's just better. We drive to Sweden to buy cheap tobacco, alcohol, meat, candy, and soda. So most people in Norway stay.
Yeah, so I've heard that before actually, that people do go from Norway to Sweden, but like, do you do that? How often do you go? Do you really just go and like fill your car or with just all the goods from there? How much cheaper is it to shop in Sweden? I guess it must be quite cool to just be able to go to another country and buy a lot of things and then just pop back and obviously at the same time save yourself money.
Stay the same place throughout their entire life. It's also very common to own your own place, and we're also one of the top countries in the world that renovates the most and kind of redecorate and buy new furniture and fix it up. And as I said, we like to do it ourselves. And we also love those extreme makeover home edition programs. Or is that just me? I just love them. Oh, they're so much fun. We still haven't gotten control over the polar bears. So it's not uncommon to see a polar bear out in the street. So
Really?
just don't look it in the eye if you see one. We talk a lot.
Have you seen a polar bear? That was just so casually like, yeah, polar bears just about the streets. I never actually knew that about Norway. Tell me if that's true in your life.
About the weather in Norway, and I bet that most of you from other countries are like, oh yeah, we do that too, but no, then you haven't been to Norway. We talk a lot about it, but it's not without reason, because the weather is unpredictable and crazy here. So a typical life for a person in Norway: you go to school from age 6 until 20, I believe. Then you take a gap year where you travel the world, go partying. Then you go and study, you buy an apartment, you get a job, most likely the same as what your parents did and what all your friends are doing. Then you hang out with friends on the weekends, and you meet a partner through Tinder or at Monkey Bar in Oslo, and then you get engaged, and the next year you get married, and the year after you have a baby, and you live happily ever after. And those were a few truths about living in Norway.
Yeah, so tell me if that's the case. Is that the case for your life? Was it so structured, just following that plan? Yeah, interesting. I mean, like, that seems like really like the perfect life, perfect place. I wonder if that's the same for everybody in Norway. Again, it mentioned Oslo there, so I don't know if maybe life is different for people in other parts of Norway as well, but through that description. Seems like a great country, as with all other videos I watch, and just a really good lifestyle. Tell me if you agree with this and if that's the case for your life. Thanks.